All right, welcome, guys. We're so excited to get together tonight and talk about post-workout recovery. We're going to go ahead and share screen here. There we are. Okay, good. And then those of you on, let me know. Can you see here where it says exercise recovery?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm Dr. Crystal Nick, chiropractor and certified acupuncturist. And then we're going to have Maribel join in, adding a little bit of insight. She's a Reiki master. And then Joel here, Dr. Dayton, he's going to do some core stabilizing activities and exercises that he does with patients every day. And I tend to share a lot of the same exercises as well, so that we can maintain our postural muscles so we don't have to deal with any back. What we're doing this month, this is what we've been focusing on, Movement March. So the big thing about this that really spoke to us in wanting to do this challenge, if you want to call it, is our own need to have movement more as a constant in our lives. We were both athletes growing up in particular, and we've maintained some exercise here and there, but through chiropractic school, starting practice, having kids, it tends to be the first thing that flies out the window when life happens. And so we figured we might not be the only ones in that boat and wanted to make sure that when we're gathered together doing something and exercising together, it tends to help there be more momentum for all. So we'll go into the details about that in a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and jump into a little bit of learning. So what we'll cover is why even focus on recovery, then how to recover well. We'll have a few topics on that in particular with stretching and then hydrating with minerals, then protein, post-workout, right? And then soothing the burn. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in first for why even focus on recovery, right? Like most of the time we would just want to focus on the exercise. But if we are exercising and it's our first time in a while and we're getting sore, that can be the first place where people get discouraged. And then we just peter out as opposed to just sticking with it. So if we actually have a really great recovery, then we will maintain that momentum. So with recovery goals, one of the first and foremost hopes is that, and actions and achievements that we have when we do have a recovery focus, is that we end up activating our parasympathetic system. That's our rest and digest. So this is where our body can really be able to take some time to now come back down out of that sympathetic state when we're in, even though we're exercising, our body's still registered as fight or flight, like we're running away from a tiger. And if we stay in that kind of high cortisol, high adrenaline state, then our bodies have trouble falling asleep and all of the, and the digestive issues might not really be able to resolve because we can't fully rest. So that's really important. And then also helping with the inflammation, really being able to help the muscles relax and stretch back out. That can help release some of the soreness, as well as just having better circulation. We're moving so much, a lot of the oxygen goes more to our core rather than to the rest of our body, so we want it to go back out to our limbs. And then one other point is to know that when we are recovering after, especially doing weights in certain areas of our body, so let's say it's upper body, we want to take a break for 3, maybe even 4 days to give yourself some time to actually be able to say, okay, now my body's ready to build again, but it needs that time to fully recover. So from there, how do we recover well? Let's dive into stretching. So first off, stretching can be for men too. This guy is good. He does stretch too, but I find that we have found that a lot of our patients that are, I have at least, they, a lot of the guys are like, no, I don't really stretch very much. It's really good. And it will help for the bulk to be still there, but to feel better. So let's talk about first the pre-workout. This is not the time to do a long stretch where we hold, for 30 seconds. That's not the time. That's better after because we can actually predispose ourselves to injury. So the types of movement we want to do is more of a warm up. So for example, here, arm circles, this is what we would do as swimmers all the time. We would be kind of circling out and just trying to get everything and then back and just trying to really get everything open and moving rather than just holding for a really long time. So then for post-workout, that's the time to really help elongate the muscles. And you can have holds there that could be 10 to 30 seconds. It is a little bit better to just maybe, like if we're touching our toes, hold for 10 seconds, take a break, and hold again for 10 seconds, take a break. So these are really great ways of having stretches be part of our routine. And what that's doing is when we are working out, we're really shortening the muscles. And so it's just to help continue to have elongating of that muscle group again. And we do find as well with our patients that if they have a habit of stretching, they don't tend to deal with as much back pain. I can tell you the patients that can go down and touch their toes versus those who are barely able to move, those the difference of pain and recovery from that injury is a dramatic difference. Those who actually can touch, they're often less intense in their pain, as well as their recovery is much shorter time frame. So now in terms of hydration, because when we're working out, we're gonna sometimes be sweating. I do if I'm like in the heat and outside, but otherwise I'm not a big sweater typically, but a lot of us, we all have our own styles of sweat, and that's great. Your body needs to be able to cool itself down. So one thing to know is, of course, we want to just be drinking and hydrating, but the other side to it is replenishing with the minerals lost. So when we are exercising, the types of minerals that can be lost are these ones here: sodium, potassium, magnesium, iron, and zinc. So ways to help replenish that, we've got a few different options here. Of course, everyone likes to go for a banana. That's great. But if you want to have an alternative, and this is one that Joel covered last week, to something like Gatorade or Powerade, would be the MetaPower Recharge. I have loved that. They have a couple different flavors, but what I particularly appreciate about this is that it has 4 different sources of magnesium. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I get magnesium citrate or I get this other magnesium isolate. But to have the variety, it helps cover both for recovery as well as better sleep in the evenings. So then VMG is great because then it helps replenish for the iron and zinc that might be lost when we're sweating. And then one other thing that I wanted to share that some of you may know about, but not everyone, a lot of us tend to use Himalayan sea salt. One that is even better is the gray Celtic sea salt. So it looks like this. There's like a fisherman on there. And the purpose of why it's actually gray is because it's maintained more mineral content present. So some of the minerals are, of course, sodium, but then potassium. It does have even a little bit of iron. It's just trace amounts, so it's not going to be like, what you would get if you have an electrolyte drink. But that's just something that we like to use even when we're seasoning our foods, as opposed to just like table salt. So that way we're just
Where do you buy that?
So you can actually get it from Amazon, but we do also get it from Whole Foods or Sprouts also tends to carry it. I think I've even seen it at Publix at times too. So
Thank you.
yeah, definitely. All right, so from here, protein. Whenever we're exercising, we really want to help our muscles to rebuild with healthy protein. So whey is one that is a complete source of protein. So that means you hear that phrase complete source of protein, it just means that all of the amino acids that our body needs and that are breaking down when we are working out, that has all of the amino acids present. So that's great if you can digest it. Our family doesn't digest whey very well. And so we really prefer actually the vegan option. So doTERRA in particular has both the whey and the vegan one as sugar-free. And it's without those harmful substitutes, like sugar-free substitutes like maltodextrin and stuff. It does not have that. So that's very nice to have options there. The vegan protein, it comes from peas, rice, quinoa seeds, sorry, seed, not seed, pumpkin seeds, and then Saka Inca seeds as well. So those are helpful when we're trying to recover. All right, now post-workout. Let's say we've got an injury and we were running and then we twisted our ankle. Don't be discouraged, keep moving, but not like hardcore. Just tend to it. So what you can do is something like lemongrass. This oil, it's an amazing oil. It's actually one that's very affordable and it has so many different benefits. So I just listed some of the different properties. It's a decongestant, regenerative, anti-inflammatory. I wrote those in particular. They have a list of others like analgesic and um, anyway, but the focus here is that it can help any area that is having poor circulation to be able to improve. So this could be even things like our thyroid. Lemongrass is known to be able to help for thyroid issues, even things like if we have eye issues, more like on the cataract side, it can be able to help with that to become less congested. You'd never put oils in your eyes, especially not lemongrass, but potentially like in your water, and then you can be able to have that. And then even things like hypertension, it's really helping with just the removing of the blockages. But it's all supporting, it's not curing. So no quotes on curing anything here. We're just supporting. But in regards to exercise, this is with joints and then the tendons and ligaments. If we have a strain or a sprain, this is especially when we bring in lemongrass with our patients. Um, and they are able to find much better improvement. So how to use it is you just do a drop. Let's say I sprained my wrist, we just do a drop right there. And then I might even blend some carrier oil, like the fractionated coconut oil with it, so that it doesn't have, it's kind of a stronger oil because of that decongestant component. And so that will help reduce any like tingling that it might have. So this is an oil that our dear friend Maribel also uses, and she pairs it with Deep Blue. And so I thought that she could share her experiences. I really love hearing from her just because she is active, an active, vibrant gal, and even her, I guess we could call it the senior age, but yet you would never, ever guess. So, Maribel, can you share a little bit with us with your experience here with Deep Blue?
Sure. Actually, Deep Blue was one of the first things that I was introduced to by the Daytons. And I love the fact that it helps with muscle, back, and joint pains. Um, it has 7 different oils, essential oils in it, and they have so many different properties, soothing properties, smoothing your skin and reduces the appearances of blemishes. And because one of the oils that it has is peppermint, it creates an exhilarating environment during physical activity, which is great. I was telling uh, Crystal earlier, yeah, if you forget to put your deodorant before you work out, well, you're still covered because peppermint is just amazing. It always gives such a nice scent and it just makes you feel so alive. It's very refreshing. It gives a cooling sensation and it diminishes the appearance of blemishes as well. So it nourishes and protects the skin, which is great. So, even if you wear it and you go out in the sun, you're still going to be protected. And it has restorative properties, anti-aging, and also skin rejuvenating, which us women always are looking after that, right? And also it has menthol, which is it helps and is usually used for during and after exercising. So I love the fact that, like I said, use it a lot with lemongrass. And one of the first things that I experienced was my daughter was having really back issues, and she says, "Mom, I can't work. I can't." I said, "Well, let me try rubbing some Deep Blue and some lemongrass together." I did it. She was able to relax. She actually fell asleep on me. And when she woke up, she goes, "What did you do to me? I feel so good. I can move. I'm okay." So, and then another experience is that my other children and my grandson that lives with me too, they just love it. So it's an amazing product, and I really like it.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Maribel.
Sure.
All right, so that is everything in terms of our post-workout recovery. We just wanted to give you a little bit more of the details again for Movement March. So the way to earn points is with these three different ways. So with a daily workout out of 30 minutes or more, you can earn a point. And the max is 6 points per week. So one exception might be if you have missed a day and you do an hour workout one day that week, you can count that as two for that day, and therefore you can kind of make up for that. But we would rather it be 6 days as opposed to 3 days of 1 hour workouts. But at least we're moving. And then bringing a friend, you also get a point for that whenever you invite a friend to join you for your exercise. So just think of what are the points doing for you? That you have shown up here for the workout, and then you are more likely to show up because you've got someone that's coming and showing up with you. So, and then here you actually get 4 points for being here online tonight. So this is the breakdown in terms of the prizes. So at the end of the month challenge, so that will be April 10th. Right here, we'll go back. Whoever has the most points, they earn $100 and the MetaPower Collagen. Joel went over that last week a little bit more. So if you need to learn more, then by all means, you can see that. Then for second place, it's $50 and the Deep Blue Stick, just like Maribel shared. So then third place, that would be the Deep Blue Stick and then Northern Escape. We're going to go into Northern Escape next week when we go into more yoga. But those are the prizes. And then this is what the tracker looks like. I think we're working on getting that posted for you.
If you want it, like reach out to me and I can send you the tracker just so you can track your days.
Yes. So, and then on the link for today, if you go to simplehealers.com/events, you can be able to sign up to say, hey, I want to be part of the challenge and I'm recording all of my points and everything. So
yeah, there's a Google Doc that you can track just so you know, like who's in the lead and all that stuff. And I already put some of mine in already. So yeah, feel free to put that in so we can see who's doing what.
Yeah, who's winning? All right, and then this just shows you the different exercise groups coming up. So the next one is tomorrow morning, and that's in Winter Springs. And then Saturday, there are a couple options. Actually, Zumba's not this week, it'll be next week. But the hike out in Colorado, if you're wanting to go to Colorado for a hike, go with Gabby.
Gabby.
And then we've got in next Saturday, we'll add this in. There's going to be a walk. It's not just like one of these, it's a walk for life. So you guys can be able to know more about that. We'll have that online and on this spreadsheet. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do our exercise time. This is our
Awesome.
core stabilizing.
Yep. So Crystal's going to flip around the camera
Yes.
here and I'm going to.
He's going to be our star now.
If you have a mat, then that's going to be helpful. I'm going to come sit like this. How about that? Well, I kind of explained. But if you have a mat, go ahead and grab it. We can give you a second to go grab your mat if you want to. But I'm going to show you some great core stabilizing exercises that you can do. And so we'll walk through these. And Crystal's going to kind of just use the camera to show what we're doing. So yeah, if you don't have a mat, that's fine. You can just get comfortable on the ground. But what we're going to do, we're going to start off with what's called the big three. So the big three, one is called curl ups. I'm gonna come down here one more time. So we're gonna do curl ups. Then we're going to do our side planks, and then we are going to do our bird dog. So we're gonna show you all three of those, and we'll show you how to do those right now. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna get on my back here. So we're gonna start out on our backs. Okay, and what we do is you're going to start by kicking one leg up like this. And then what you'll do is you're going to have your head flat on the ground. You'll put your hands behind your back like this.
Not in the camera or nothing, like just been there and you got a point.
So, but I'm gonna actually have you find the top and the bottom of your sternum. So the top and bottom of the sternum, and then go right in the middle, and then pretend that there's a pencil that goes all the way through you and hits you right here. So this is going to be our hinge point where we're going to be doing our curl up from. Okay. So that's step one. Next, what we're going to do, find your belly button, go down 2 inches and go over 2 inches. So about right here. These are the muscles that we're going to be focusing on when we're pulling ourselves up right now. So you're going to be hinging from that midpoint in your back, and you're going to be pulling from here in your stomach. We need to keep our neck straight, so we're not going to be curling our neck when we do this curl up. We're going to be going straight up like this. So I don't know if you can see from where you're at, but I've got just about an inch or two between my shoulder blade and the ground. I'm just barely coming off of that mat, and I'm hovering there. So why you put your hands here in behind your back right here is so that you don't flatten out your back. We actually want to have a little bit of an arch in the back. That's totally fine. Because that's actually normal when you're standing or sitting, you should have an arch in the back there. So we're going to put our hands behind our back there on both sides, and then we're going to curl up. We're going to contract these muscles right here. And we're going, in fact, you know what, before we do this, I'm actually going to have you do a mini curl up right now. Make sure that these muscles right here, 2 inches down and 2 inches to the side, make sure that they're contracting. So what we're going to do is you're just going to pull up really gently and see if those muscles are contracting, because that's what we want to use to get ourselves off the ground. Okay? Kind of feel that? If they aren't contracting, here's a little hint. You're just going to massage that area, kind of rub it while you contract. Why we do that is actually that will help you if you're having a struggle knowing how to contract that muscle. That helps your body kind of draw attention to it, and it helps to contract a little bit easier. So that's a little helpful hint for you. Okay, so what we're going to do now, take your hands, put them in the small of your back. Make sure you don't push yourself up off the ground with your elbows, right? Don't cheat. So what we're going to do, we're going to hold it for 20 seconds. So ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. $17, $18, $19, $20. Then you can let yourself down. So it might be tricky if you're feeling a lot of strain on this at 20 seconds, back it off to 10. You're totally fine. But also, I will tell you, when you first start doing this, your neck's going to feel really tight because it's not used to not curling. If you curl it, it's going to feel a lot easier. But the problem is you're actually, we don't actually want to do that. We want to keep the neck straight because we're trying to get our contraction to happen here in our lower abdomen. And if you raise your neck, you're not going to get as much of a contraction in that lower abdominal muscle, okay? Then what you do is you switch. You're going to have your other leg flex, and you're going to do the same thing. We're going to hold it for 20 seconds. Ready? $13, $14, $15, $16, $17, $18, $19, 20. There you go. So what I recommend is 4 sets of 20 seconds. You hold it each side. So 4 sets on this side, 4 sets on this side. Okay. So that is the first of the big 3. And I will tell you, when I have patients that do these consistently, they rarely have back problems. So that's a cool little hint. So that's the first one. That's called curl ups. We're going to move on to our next one. So here's the second one. It's a side plank. Now, if you have, I will tell you, if you have shoulder injuries or if you have impingement or something like that, this one you will want to not do on the shoulder that is injured. If you don't have a shoulder injury per se, but your shoulder hurts, I'll give you a little modification. So what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing on contracting our glute muscles and also these muscles on here. You have, they're called serratus muscles, serratus anterior muscles. And you're going to be focusing on those 2. So we're going to contract our glutes and push our pelvis forward. And then you're going to feel when you're leaning on that shoulder, it's going to contract these muscles on the side. And it's really going to help create this, the side of this pelvic, or excuse me, not pelvic girdle, but abdominal girdle that we're going to make right here. Okay. So you can start on your knees. I'm going to show you the knee modification first. So what we're going to do, you make sure that your elbow is tucked underneath where the shoulder is. So you're not going to have it directly under the shoulder. You're going to tuck it further down this way, okay? And then but it should be in line here, okay? So it should be tucked this way, but it should be in line this way, okay? You're going to bring it to a 90-degree angle here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your knee in line with the wrist right here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to contract your glute muscles. You're going to push your pelvis forward. Now, I want to show you what you don't want to do, and then I'll show you what you do want to do. Some people do this. They push themselves up like this. We don't want to do that. We actually want to contract our glute muscles and push our pelvis forward. And then you'll hold this. We're going to, again, hold it for 20 seconds. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You're going to do this for 4 sets, again, on one side, okay? Let me show you a modification. So this is the knee modification. Let me show you if you have a shoulder, this is not if you have a shoulder injury, but just if it's painful when you do this with your shoulder, okay? So what you would do is you take your hand, you're going to cup it over the top of the shoulder and you're going to pull down. This is going to help stabilize and support it just a little bit more, excuse me. So you hold it like that and then you can push up. Okay. So that would be the modification for the shoulder. Now, when you get comfortable with this, what I recommend is that you move over to your feet, having just your feet down below instead of going on your knees. So again, you're going to do this for 20 seconds, but you'll just contract your glute muscles and you'll push yourself forward like this. And you can hold like that. Okay? So that is what I recommend. Also, especially if someone has any type of back injury that they're trying to heal from, these are great exercises to do, but make sure that you're not doing this type of thing where we're lying on our side. This is making my spine shaped like this. I shouldn't actually be doing this right now. I actually want to keep straight in this position. If you can see, my spine is a lot more straight if we do it that way. Okay, so that is the second of the big 3. The final of the big 3, we're going to be on our hands and knees. And what you want to do, again, you want to have your wrists directly under the shoulder. And then you're going to have the knees directly under the hips. And you're going to have the knees just a little bit wider than hips length apart, okay? Hips width apart, excuse me. So the muscles that we're trying to focus on here are our glute muscles and our latissimus dorsi muscle. Latissimus dorsi is a big muscle that is here in the back, okay? And so when we extend, what we're going to do is we're going to be extending our arm and we're going to be extending the opposite leg at the same time. Okay, the things that we want to focus on this, we want to focus on feeling the muscles right back here contracting rather than the muscles in the shoulder. You're going to feel some in the shoulder, but we want to have these muscles back here feel like they're really contracting. The other thing that we want to do is we want the glute to be contracting rather than feeling it in the hamstring, okay? And the third thing that I want you to focus on is not tilting the pelvis. So what people will do sometimes when they do this exercise, when they kick their leg back, they'll bring their hip up. If you can see it, this is probably a little bit easier to see. Yeah, they'll bring their hip up like this. Now, what I want you to think about is having a glass or a plastic cup on the back right here. And I want you to focus on, if you can notice, my back doesn't move at all when I do this. My glute contracts and it kicks my leg back, but my back doesn't move. It's completely stable. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start out with that. So start out kicking your leg back. Let's start with the right leg. You're going to just kick the leg back and you're going to focus on feeling this muscle contracting. Okay. So you're going to contract that leg or contract that glute, excuse me, and kick the leg back behind you without having this tilt. Okay. This shouldn't drop and this shouldn't hike up. It should be completely stable and still. Now, I will tell you, sometimes it's hard. You might feel a little bit wobbly on that. If you contract your abdominal muscles at the same time you contract your glute, it gives you stability so the pelvis doesn't move, okay? So right now I'm contracting my abdominal muscles right in here. And then I'm contracting the glute to extend the leg behind. Okay? Let's do the other. Left leg, here we go. Again, flat back here. This shouldn't be rotating this way or this way, okay? The hip should stay down, but the glute should be contracting so that the leg goes straight back behind you. And I'm not trying to get this leg super high. I just want it back behind me. All right, now let's go with the arms. Again, let's start with the right arm. But when we extend the arm, if you feel most of the contraction happening here in the front of your shoulder, you actually want to try and modify. So if you can get these muscles back here, and let me teach you a little secret. When you extend your arm like this, if you cock your arm back just a little bit, kind of seat the shoulder back just a little bit, you'll feel some different muscles start to fire right in here. And that's the muscle that you want to feel. So you're going to cock it just a little bit, and you'll start to feel that latissimus dorsi start to engage. Now let's go ahead and do the other arm. Ready? And then you're going to cock back this arm just a little bit. You'll feel that latissimus dorsi engage. You can see Crystal's hand right there.
Oh.
Because she's practicing up already.
Sorry.
That's fine. No, that's good. Thank you.
Just trying to stay out of the game.
So let's go ahead and do the combination now. So what we're going to do, we're going to extend our right leg and then our left arm. So let's go ahead and start. Ready? Here we go. Right leg, left arm, cock back the arm just a little bit and keep the pelvis level. We're going to hold that for 20 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you finish, sweep the floor like this. That actually helps get some circulation back in the hip. And then we would hold it again. We would hold it again, okay? For time's sake, I'm actually going to not do that right now. We're going to go the other leg. I'm going to extend the left leg and the right arm. Here we go. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then sweep the floor. And then we would do that again. So that is the third of the big three. Stu McGill's big three. They are ones that I teach all of my back patients how to do. And the reason why is because it helps really, really stabilize the back. And if you do them consistently, you just don't have many issues. I'm going to show you a couple other exercises that I love to do. And I have to cheat off my little card because I have a bunch of exercises, but there are a couple that I want to do. Okay, we're going to look next at crocodile breathing. This is a really nice one because you can do it in your bed. You can do it lying down as you wake up in the morning. what crocodile breathing is doing is helping to engage your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is the very top muscle, and it's the deepest muscle of your core muscles. People don't know that actually when you breathe, you have to actually contract a muscle that allows oxygen to, or I should say, it allows your lungs to expand so that oxygen can come into it. So when we breathe in, what we should feel is our stomach should move out. Because what happens is when this diaphragmatic muscle, when it contracts, what it does is it moves down and it causes all of our internal organs down here to actually push out a little bit. And as a result, then we have more room up here for our lungs to have oxygen in them. So what I'm going to show you, this is called crocodile breathing. And what I want you to do, you're going to take one hand on your chest, you're going to put your other hand on your belly, right here, on your belly button. And what you're going to do is very simple. Put your legs down flat. You're going to take a 5-second breath in, and then a 5-second breath out. Now what you should feel is no movement in the chest and all your movement in the belly. So I don't know if you can see, but I'm putting my hand here on my belly and you can see it rise, and my hand on my chest won't rise at all. Now, as you learn how to do this, some people struggle with this. Some people, it's really natural. It's fine. I find about 50% of people are actually breathing the wrong way. They actually try and breathe with their muscles up here, their scalene muscles. They try and pull the chest up. So it's like they'll try and breathe. I can't even really do it very well, but if you breathe, a lot of people struggle with this, about 50%. So they'll breathe in here and they'll try and get air to come in because they're contracting these muscles and bring the chest up. Not the goal. And when you do that, the diaphragm, it actually softens, it weakens, and then it is your innermost core muscle. So if that muscle is not working properly, then all the muscles that go on top of it have a really, really difficult time working. So that's something that you can do, even as if you like to meditate or pray. This is something that you can do in your bed as you wake up. This is something that I've in years past done for sure with my meditation, where I will do that breathing exercise. So that's a really great way to wake up. The next exercise I'm going to talk with you about is bridges. So bridges are very, very simple, but unfortunately people do them, they overdo them oftentimes. So bridges is going to be, we're going to be going on our back. We're going to get your feet as close as you can to your glutes, okay? So I tore my ACL in my left knee, and I actually have kind of a difficulty. I have some limited range of motion getting that ankle back to the glute. So you just get as close as you can. The reason why we want to do that is because we want to limit the amount of work that our hamstring is doing in this exercise, because a lot of times people will use their hamstrings instead of their glute muscles. Now, again, glutes, abs, that's what we're focusing on in this exercise. Don't cheat with your hands. You can put your hands on the ground, but just don't push yourself up. What we're trying to do is we're just trying to contract the glutes, push our pelvis up, but we only want to get off the ground about 2 inches. So it's really, really a small movement, but all you're going to do is just lift up and make sure your glutes are firing. Hamstrings should be a little bit more relaxed. If you find your hamstrings are tighter, go ahead and tuck while you're up in your upward position, go ahead and just scoot your heels back just a little bit, and you should feel your hamstrings loosen up just a bit. But the glutes are your major movers, so you should be able to hold this. And we're not even going to hold it for that long, just about 5 seconds at a time. And then we're going to go down. So this is going to be more of a repetition exercise where you're going to hold it for 5 seconds and then come down. And then hold it and you're going to feel your abdominal muscles. They should be firing too here. If not, then your glutes are doing all the work, and that's not fair. So go ahead and contract your abdominal muscles and your glute muscles, and then we're going to come down. So very simple. We're not looking, what we're trying to do is we're trying to maintain as much as possible a neutral spine. We're not trying to get the back in a super arched position where I've seen people come way off the ground on this. And that can actually put a lot of strain on the lumbar spine. Not the goal. We're just trying to strengthen muscles in that area, the glutes and the abdominal muscles, to make sure that this is more stable. Okay. So that's the third one. All right, I guess the fourth set of exercises we've done. Now let's look at, I'm going to show you just two more. We're going to do some squats. And I know a lot of people have done squats in the past. I'm going to show you how I do squats and how I teach my patients to do squats. Crystal's going to help out with this so you can actually see what I'm doing. So when I start out with a squat, I'm going to put my feet going straight in front of you, right? You're going to have your feet just about shoulder width apart, right below your shoulders. And then what you're going to do, we're really focusing again on glutes. Glutes are our major mover here. And glutes are going to bring us slowly down into the squat, and then they're going to power us back up out of the squat. So what I want you to focus on when you're coming out of your squat, you're going to fire your glutes, and you're going to feel the pelvis tuck underneath you and push you up. So it should look like this and move up like that. Okay. So we're going to also bring our hands as high as you can above your head like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to contract the glutes before we go down into our squat. We're going to contract the glutes, and we're going to slowly lower ourselves down into a squat. You can rest yourself into the heels, into the back of the foot. One, you go into the squat, and we're just going to go into a 90-degree squat where we're not going to go super low. We're just going to go to, seat level. So here we go. So we're going to bring our arms up like this, and we're going to go down. And you can hold it for some time. The goal, as you can see, my back's pretty straight here, which is great. We don't want to round. That's not good. We want to tuck in our back forward. And then you can be able to sit in this 90-degree position pretty comfortably. And then when we're coming out of the squat, we're going to contract our glutes, and we're going to push the pelvis forward. So it looks like this. It's kind of a snap where the glutes fire and push the pelvis back under you. So let's do a set of 10 of those. Ready? Here we go. Six, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so really focus on that glute, pushing yourself, pushing the pelvis underneath you so you can get back up a lot easier. Why is the squat so important? Well, we squat all the time. We're sitting, standing. We go from sit to stand so many times throughout the day, and that's essentially a squat. So making sure that you're having the right position, the right mechanism as you're going from sit to stand, super important. Make sure that you don't hurt your back. Make sure that, you're really maintaining your core. The last one I want to show you is called W's. W's, I'm going to have Crystal raise up the screen just a little bit here so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so W's. Why are W's important? Let me explain to you what W's are. W's are making sure that we don't end up in this position. Okay, let me show you. So a lot of us will have this rolled shoulder that we do. You'll see people, especially when they get into their 80s and especially in their 90s, a lot of times we see people rolled over like this. Unfortunately, It's because we've been in this forward posture all of our lives. We eat, we drive, we text, whatever we do, we do in front of us. We take care of our children, right? Everything's in front of us. So we have these muscles that overdevelop, our pec muscles overdevelop, and we roll our shoulders in, right? So what this is going to do is going to help roll the shoulders back and keep them in this position. How we do this, we're going to work on the rhomboid muscles. They're muscles right in between your shoulder blades. So here's the edge of my shoulder blade here. Here's the edge of my shoulder blade here. We are going to be doing exercise. So this is done with a band really, really well. If you have a band at home. If not, that's okay. You can still do this exercise without a band. I'm going to show it without a band in case you don't have a band. But what you're going to do is you're going to basically extend your arms backwards. This is called retraction. So they're going to come like this. And this exercise is called W. You can see my arm kind of makes a W right this way. You see that? Makes a W. So that's why this is called W's. So you're going to hold your arms backwards. Now, while you're doing this, this muscle right here is called your upper trapezius muscle right here. Right here. Right? Upper trapezius should be relaxed. You're looking to get your your mid and lower trapezius muscle activated when we're doing this exercise. So when we pull backwards, we should feel totally relaxed in these areas, but you should feel these contracting in between. So mid and lower trap and your rhomboid muscles. The rhomboid muscles are the muscles that go from your scapula, the inside of your scapula here, to your spine. So you're going to focus on extending back and holding just like this. This is a super simple exercise. Again, if you want to really give yourself a great workout, you can grab a band, a rubber band. I'm talking an exercise band, right? Exercise band, a light gauge exercise band, and you do 4 sets of 20 of these. So you're going to do 80 of these a day, right? Really simple exercise, but it has a great effect on keeping your chest open, your shoulders rounded back, and also strengthening those rhomboid muscles. So let's get 20 of those really quickly. Here we go. Ready? Crystal's asking me to do it from the side, so here we go.
Mhm.
We're at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, now this, if you do all these, this simple set of core, this will really only take you about 10, 15 minutes if you do them all consecutively. It is incredible for being able to keep your back strong. And when I say strong, I mean your core strong so your back doesn't get a lot of damage, right? It also helps, like I said, keeping your shoulders back and having you in a more upright position. If we have you in this position, it's much better than having your head over this way. When you have your head way over in front of your center of gravity, what ends up happening is you actually have to activate a lot more muscles in your back to try and keep yourself up, and you end up injuring your back. So again, if we can get your correct muscles, the rhomboids, middle, lower trap, firing properly, if we can get your abdominals and your serratus muscles firing properly, if we can get your glutes and latissimus dorsi firing properly, you're not going to have issues. It greatly minimizes the issues that you may have with, especially with back issues. So I hope that helps you out, gives you some good ideas. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now, but yeah, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of those for you. We're gonna pause this here.